Navigating pre-disbursement finance charges. What startup businesses should expect. In the exciting journey of launching a startup, securing funding is often a crucial step. However, before entrepreneurs receive the much-needed capital injection, there's a maze of financial considerations to navigate. Pre-disbursement finance charges are among the initial expenses that startup businesses encounter when seeking funding. Understanding these charges is paramount for entrepreneurs to manage their finances effectively and plan for a successful future. What are pre-disbursement finance charges? Pre-disbursement finance charges encompass various costs incurred by startups before they receive funding. These charges are associated with the process of applying for and securing financing and are essential components of the overall financing arrangement. While the specific charges may vary depending on the type of funding and the financial institution or investor involved, some common ones include application fees. Many lenders and investors require applicants to pay a fee when submitting their funding application. This fee covers the administrative costs associated with reviewing the application and conducting due diligence. Due diligence expenses. Before committing to fund a startup, lenders and investors often conduct due diligence to assess the viability and risk associated with the business. This process may involve hiring third-party professionals such as accountants, lawyers, or consultants to review the startup's financials, legal documents, and business model. The expenses incurred during due diligence are typically borne by the startup. Legal fees. Drafting and reviewing legal documents, such as loan agreements or investment contracts, incur legal fees. Startups are usually responsible for covering these costs, which can vary depending on the complexity of the transaction and the involvement of legal professionals. Underwriting fees. In the case of loans, lenders may charge underwriting fees to cover the costs of assessing the creditworthiness of the borrower and determining the terms of the loan. These fees are typically calculated as a percentage of the loan amount. Commitment fees. Some lenders may charge commitment fees to secure a commitment to provide funding at a future date. These fees are payable regardless of whether the startup ultimately receives the funding. Processing fees. Processing fees cover the costs associated with disbursing the funds to the startup once the financing is approved. These fees may include administrative expenses, wire transfer fees, or other transaction costs. Managing pre-disbursement finance charges. While pre-disbursement finance charges are inevitable in the funding process, startups can take proactive steps to manage these expenses effectively. Budgeting. Before applying for funding, startups should carefully assess their financial position and budget for the various pre-disbursement finance charges they may incur. Allocating funds for these expenses can help prevent financial strain during the application process. Comparing options. Startups should explore multiple funding options and compare the terms and associated charges offered by different lenders or investors. This allows them to choose the most cost-effective financing solution that aligns with their needs and goals. Negotiation. Entrepreneurs shouldn't hesitate to negotiate with lenders or investors to minimize or waive certain pre-disbursement finance charges. Building a strong case based on the startup's potential and mitigating factors can help in negotiating favorable terms. Seeking transparency. It's essential for startups to seek transparency from lenders or investors regarding the pre-disbursement finance charges involved in the funding process. Clear communication about these charges upfront can prevent misunderstandings and enable informed decision-making. Professional advice. Engaging with financial advisors, legal professionals, or consultants with experience in startup funding can provide valuable insights and guidance on managing pre-disbursement finance charges effectively. Conclusion. Navigating the landscape of pre-disbursement finance charges is an integral part of the startup funding journey. By understanding these charges and implementing effective strategies to manage them, entrepreneurs can streamline the funding process and position their startups for success. As startups embark on their quest for financing, partnering with reputable financial services providers like Creative Global Funding Services can offer tailored solutions and support to navigate the complexities of securing funding. To explore startup funding options, visit www.creativeglobalfundingservices.com today.